Today I want to talk about a tale, a legend that is not really told in our culture or our Bible story. We're not given this particular story, but to do this, I'm going to have to jump between the Greco-Roman, the Arabic, and the Egyptian. And really, that's where all of our stories come from, is out of these three traditions. But this one is what I call the River of Souls. It's where souls come from, or we get a lot of our legend is tied to Orion. They have built the age of Taurus on top of the ancient age of Leo. I have just proven that beyond a shadow of a doubt every way you look at it. Now, let's start with the Egyptian. We are looking at Orion here, and they won't give us the images, so the best we can do is to put up the names and the constellation lines. In the Egyptian, this guy is the wizard, and the flock is the Pleiades. Let me quickly jump to the Arabic here. I'm just going to keep jumping back and forth so you can see this. After the flood, in the age of Cancer came the age of Gemini, ruled by Mercury, the great navigator, the great communicator, the messenger, Buddha, Thoth, Hermes. They circumnavigated the world, re-put out the star maps and the land maps on what was left after the flood. Then we come into the age of Taurus, where it tells you there were giants in the earth. Taurus is an earth sign. In Arabic, Orion is the giant. There were giants in the earth in those days after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men. We have three places of giants, and it's all where the air sign meets the earth sign. We have it in Aquarius. Let's jump to the Egyptian and show you the giants in Aquarius. Giants. Pegasus is the giant here right over Aquarius's head. Let's go back to the Arabic. We have the same thing when we get over here. Of course, the balance has been removed here. I don't think they give it to us in the Egyptian, though. I think they left this one out. But this one also has giant in it. It might be. Let me check the Arabic. It has to do with the word nephesh, Nephilim. And then the giant itself is Geber. It's Geber. But we also have that here in one of the stories. So it's always where air meets earth. Now, what we're really here to talk about is the River of Souls. Christ made a statement to the Pharisees, and he told him, you are not Abraham's seed. You're the seed of the serpent, right? We don't have the same bloodline. That's what he told them. Or basically, we don't have the same soul group. It wasn't really bloodline. It's soul group. It's not a man's flesh and bones. It's what's in his heart. So we start with the flock over here in the Pleiades. And it occurred to me, I was doing a video and it occurred to me, the flock moves to the sheepfold here. And then, which is right under the ram, right? A ram, a female ram is also a sheep. The sheepfold under the ram of Aries. And the sheep remain here through 2 ages. They remain in this sheepfold. And then they moved to this one, which in the Western tradition, it's in an air sign, and it's a bird. This too occurred to me that the flock was never sheep. They've been lied to. Just because they were put down here in the sheepfold under Aries, they were told they were sheep. The flock are the suppressed from the age of Gemini. They're not a flock of sheep. They're a flock of birds. They're birds. They're air signs. They're birds. So they're bird people, not sheep people. The bird people came from Gemini. They were enslaved here as the flock. They turned them into sheep here, but they get back to birds in the next age. You get your wings back now to the river of souls. And where they come from and why. Let's do it in the Arabic. In the Arabic. You have the giant's foot, Orion, and you have this river that comes out. It's called the river right here. And it comes around this beast out of the sea, which is all organized religions. That's what this is. And the river goes on around. These are the souls. And then we come to the end of the river. There's no river until we come over here and we find this one. To the mouth of the fish. Where this one ends, this one begins. We have this gap. And the way they line up, coming straight up, is equal. They're equal. Where one ends, one begins. When these souls stop coming, these souls start coming. Right now we're in brackish waters. The waters below and the waters above. And they're mixing. We have ages run in quadrants. Quadrants. We have air, earth, fire, and water. And we've completed this whole cycle. We're at the end of a cycle. And we're coming back into air. To the beginning of the beginning of the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens, Aquarius, and the earth. He is the firstborn Reuben. He is the red man. So we're coming full circle, but we're also at the point where we're swapping from one quadrant of soul groups to another. This living water, the water of life, the gulf, the souls from heaven. And it's torn between earth, Orion, and heaven. The builders, the masons, they chose Orion. Fomalhaut and the heavenly water is the stone or the star the builders rejected. And that's funny, in the Arabic, this is the young goat, which makes it a kid. These are kids. And the other legend, this is the old black nanny goat. It's the oldest of all the symbols. Capricorn. But everything began with Aquarius, and everything will end with Aquarius. It's fixed air. And then we have this little water river here. And this is what we've been through this. I call this the Old Testament and the New Testament. The black and white Masonic words, the red words. This one worships the god of fire in the Old Testament, Aries, which is Vulcan, Ahura Mazda, the burning bush, Molech, all wrapped up into one. And then the red words always pointing to Aquarius. And of course, our little star here, the knot that represents the Vatican, that ties all religions into this beast system of using religion to make war for profit and power. And of course, he has the souls. They're in his claws, this water here. So they have their own water as well they're producing here. But many of us are being born right now that are coming out of this water. This river that runs from his hand to Thalem's mouth, the mouth of the fish, to the master himself. There's so much going on right now. I kind of feel sorry for you people on the mutable cross having to deal with this Rahu, Ketu, Mars, Saturn, Pluto problem. But in another way, I'm a little bit jealous because y'all have opportunity here. The door's open. You can just walk through it. Or you can crash and burn. Everything has duality. You have a chance to pass an incredible test right now with Mars opposing Saturn retrograde. And pretty much that's how this is going to turn out. Depending upon your Mars, all of it banks on your Mars. And that's your actions and your reactions. How are you going to respond? Will you stop and reflect? Will you make the right decision, or will it be a reactive one because you're being tested? And as long as Saturn is sitting on that mutable cross, that's who's being tested. Us cardinals get it next, but it's you mutables right now. And you're the ones really, listen to me. I want to tell you people something about the mutable cross. I'm on the cardinal cross. That makes me a grandmaster. It makes me a leader. It makes me a teacher. But those of you on the mutable cross, you got the power. You're the ones that have the power of transmutation. You know, children are so powerful. And that's how I look at you on the mutable cross. You don't have any clue how powerful you are. Transmutation occurs on the mutable cross. That's where the change happens. And if you can go with that change, or even make your own change, don't follow a path somebody else has laid out. Forge your own. Make it unique. That's what the heavens recognizes. This world age is trying to stamp everybody out to be the same. You'll have one government. You'll have one religion. You'll all dress alike. You'll all look alike. You'll say what we tell you to say. You'll do what we tell you to do. You'll think what we tell you to think. But Aquarius couldn't be more opposite than that. It's about individuality. A lot of you get upset when I tell you that in the age of Aquarius, we're coming into a monarchy where we'll be worshiping the sun. I'm just using their terminology. Let me explain it to you in a real way. The monarchy that you will be under is your own. When you open the third eye, you become King Arthur. You have pulled the sword from the stone, and you write your own ticket of individualism. You are the king of your own body, your own life, not others. This is not being ruled over. Our king in the next age is a heavenly one. It is a crown chakra one, not an earthly one. It's a spiritual kingdom. I'll say it again. It's a spiritual kingdom. The systems of this world are all going to be done away with. And we're talking about monarchy and dictatorships. We're talking about democracy which is really mob rule. There's a difference between Aristotle and Plato. And it's really just word semantic, because in both Plato's Republic and Aristotle's democracy, where the aristocracy rule, and it's still class systems. It's still class systems. It's all the same. They just keep changing faces. They'll just keep putting on the other mask to remain in control. The power shifts from the kings to the priests to the bankers. And now it's time to go back to the kings. But not the kings they're giving us. Not these phony, fake, wind czars. Not going to happen. Because this kingdom is within. Not in a fake name you've given yourself. Saturn's this judge. He's judging you by the spirit, not your flesh, not your worldly deeds of this world age of Pisces. No worldly deeds here. It's all going to be about what's on the inside. The last 3 ages have been about what's on the outside. Now it's about what's on the inside. And what's on the inside of us are our chakras, and we always start with the root. It's the root of the problem is our emotions. You must learn to contain yourself. Don't react. Let go of the petty hate that you have against others. It's not doing anything to them, but it's destroying you from within. It's like a disease, a cancer that just eats away at you. You know, it's very well possible that they're going to find out that cancer derives from negative energy within your own body. Sickness and disease, your body can pretty much cure anything. And yeah, I'm not going to get into the argument. Yes, they're making us sick. Because they're afraid of us. They're making us weak. They want to make our bodies weak and not live very long. Because they fear us. And just knowing that they're afraid empowers me. I don't know about you, but I don't walk in fear. A lot of you are worried and really want to see me get out of Las Vegas. You know, I didn't choose to move here. I didn't choose to do astrology. None of this is by my choice. What I'm doing, I did not choose. This path was laid before me, and every other door was shut, slammed in my face, until I decided to just go ahead and walk this path. And my life is much easier. It might seem like my life is a disaster to you, but you're used to a calm life. I'm not. My life has been upside down since the first breath. There's been nothing normal about it. To me, I don't stress over it. I'm not unhappy. Where I am at does not determine my happiness. My happiness comes from within, so it does not matter where I'm at. But I know I have a purpose here, and I know I won't be allowed to leave until I have fulfilled that purpose, whatever it is. I'm just waiting and doing, and it will manifest itself when the time is right, or when I am ready. Then it will manifest. It's what they always say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So I'm just doing what I do and waiting patiently. I'm trying to get out of these apartments. I've been trying since I first got in them, but it's hard to do in Las Vegas. It's designed, and this city is built on other people's losses. And if anything, as a matter of fact, it is a microcosm of the macrocosm. This is what I'm learning here in Las Vegas. This is what I'm learning. I'm learning that it is a small picture of the big picture of what's really going on. The world government is a criminal syndicate organization, just like everything that's run here. And it's based on a financial system, which is Pisces looking up on its own cross to Mercury, all about the commerce. And Mercury's exalted here in Virgo. Mercury is the only planet that is exalted in his own house. Now I don't know if you understand what I just said, but that is serious. To have a planet exalted in its own house. That's pride. That's self-exaltation. Which is pride. And pride cometh before the fall. Pride is falling now. We have 1 month. 1 month and we will be at the spring equinox, which now happens here in the 1st degrees of Taurus, which makes Leo now in the fall equinox, right here. So, pride is falling. One day we'll have to do a video just about the crab, because there is a lot that they're bringing forward right now about the mules or the donkeys and the honeycomb. And that's all about Cancer. It's all about the crab, the beehive nebula, and the southern donkey and the northern donkey. This is the donkey that the Messiah rides into the city and they're waving the palm trees singing Hosanna. That's what this is. It's when the sun passes through here. All of your stories are here. All of your giants. This is another word for Freemason to me. Actually, there's nothing wrong with masonry. It's Freemasonry that is the problem. It's the bogus offshoot. It's not correct. Christ was the son of Joseph, a carpenter. There are no carpenters in the desert. Carpenters work with wood. There are no wood. You don't build houses out of palm and date trees. It don't work. He was a builder. The word in the Greek is builder, and we get the word carpenter, mason, stonemason. And now what we have today is Freemasonry. And it's neither nor is it masonry. It's anything but. My son was in the Shriners. He was at the Shriners Hospital. And so I was around 33rd degree Masons for a long time. Over a decade. And they know nothing. I know more than they do. They know nothing. They don't ask questions. They're not allowed to. They're told not to. It's like military. Everything's on a need-to-know basis. And they don't need to know anything. You're just a 33rd degree Mason, and all you do is work for the Shriners. You raise money and represent the Shriners. That's what you do here in your retirement. But you know nothing. My first boyfriend in school. Matter of fact, he grew up. His father was a Mason, ran the biggest lodge in the town, and he grew up and took that seat. And he knows nothing. I questioned him, and I went to school with him, and I knew him well. I knew if he was lying to me or not, and you could tell he didn't have a clue what I was talking about. Nothing. And I didn't go deep. I just scratched the surface and dropped some breadcrumbs to see if he'd take the bait. And he didn't even know it was bait. They don't know anything. They're not taught the truth either. They've been lied to just like the rest of us. Freemasonry to me is nothing but another religion they've put down here in this beast system of religions. That's all it is. the true point of the mystery schools was the body of Osiris, but it was all taken over by Jupiterians, and it was all distorted and corrupted. Jupiterians, you will know it's the European systems. It is, people get upset too when I talk about Europe has to be destroyed. Europe's all over the world. Europe rules the world. It is the European banking systems, government systems, religious systems, financial systems, all of this. It's the systems that are coming down, not the people. When I tell you Europe must be destroyed, it is the Europe mentality that will be destroyed as we move from Pisces. They're Jupiterians. They worship Jupiter, just as Asia worships the fire god Mars. It is the battle of fire and ice. It's the bankers and the priests hooked up together. And they control the kings, who makes the wars. And that's their system. It's the whole thing. But it's all coming to an end, because we're at the end of the river now. Let's throw up. Let's follow the end of the river in its box and just go straight up. And this is where we're at now. We're at the end of the river now. And we're getting peoples born from both of these boxes, from both of these rivers. That's why I tell you, we're not all the same. We never have been, and we never will be. All men are not created equal. For that matter, there are not two ever have, ever is, or ever will be alike. There are no two identical anything in creation. Nature works that way. Nature is designed on a 1.618 ratio. I call it Quemu. And that is its linguistic numerical value. And this 1.618 ratio, and it is designed as it copies itself. It makes a clone, a copy of itself. But because it takes the past two parts to make the new third part, just like we have the man and the woman that make the third baby, the new thing is designed on the previous two things before it. So it's always a new thing. It's a copy, you take two and slam it together to make a copy. So it's not a true clone. And because nature works this way, and the variables within the magic circle, there are no two ever alike, not even twins. Unless they draw breath at the exact same second, and that's not even possible. The rising sign in your charts are to the second, not just the minute. Now, every one of us are created uniquely, and it is your natal chart. It's your cross that tells you who you are, why you're here, what you're supposed to be doing. And let me tell you something. It's a one-in-a-lifetime chance. One-in-a-lifetime chance. And you'll never get this chance to be you in this state ever again. Make the best of it. Don't throw it away. Your story is written in the heavens. You need to dance through life and dance your story on the stage below, here on earth. Your soul is here literally to dance. Yet we have spent the last 3 ages weeping and crying and suffering and hating and dying. All that's coming to an end. This water, this poisonous river of death, this polluted crap is done. We have a new source. We have a new source of living water. And it comes from within. It is the land of milk and honey. The land of the living water, the living word, spiritually living. We've been in 3 ages of spiritual death. It's all been about materialism. Ever since Taurus, that's what it's been about. Ego, materialism, and desire. Especially Aries and Pisces. Desire and materialism. All wrapped up in here. I won't, give me, mine, I, my. While they want to stamp the rest of us out to just be these clones. You'll all look alike, act alike, sound alike, think alike. No more. Because we're not of that water. If you're on my channel, you didn't come out of this water. This water down here, they're easily identified. They're full of anger, hate, negativity. It's oppositely charged than us. This is the physical water. This is the spiritual water. In the Christian tradition, this is where the Messiah gets stabbed in the side by the centurion, and this is the blood and the water that flows from his side. This is the Gulf of Souls. It's the living water. It's the land of milk and honey. You know, in Revelations they talk about, and this is the frog here, and I saw the frog come, the frogs that came out of the mouth of the false prophet and out of the mouth of the beast. Here's your frog. This is the second frog. Where's the first frog? And I saw the frogs that came out of their mouth. Here it is. It's in the beast. The frogs are the priests. They write the scripts. They're the script writers. The belly of the beast. Water dragon. And it all comes from here. It all comes from their source, which is the Orion Nebula. And that's what they push as the source of life. They think all of our life comes from there. It don't. Theirs might. That quadrant, that age, those 4 ages, it very well could have. But I am so familiar with this water. All of my planets are right here, but I got Jupiter right here on the line, and I got Mercury and Jupiter on the mutable cross. But everything else is right here. So I can really identify with this whole quadrant. I don't have my shit spread all over the place. So like most of you do. So it's harder for me in some cases because I'm dealing with 3 malefics in my first house. But I mastered all of them. I mastered all of them very young. It was easy for me. It's the others I have problems with, not my first house. But you have to look at your chart. And everybody's dealing with Mars on the mutable cross, on the masculine axis of the mutable cross. It's going to affect those of you who are born with it on the mutable cross the most. The ones that have the lesson here. That you're the ones that really have to learn. It's your lesson to learn. But we all go through the same test and the trials as these planets move through. It just means more to some of you. Some of us are just in class. Others are being tested. Depending on what your natal chart looks like. Where you're at in the scheme of things. Everybody needs to learn to do their own. I have no problem doing other people's charts. But truly, the journey is yours. You take up your cross. You follow Fomalhaut daily. And be the best you can be. You know, everything is duality. You have a choice here. You have a choice here with Mars and the situation that he's in. It's emotionally explosive, and it's going to stay this way until he moves into Cancer. And then we'll get a little peace and quiet. but not until then. It's going to be total uproar with that Pluto retrograde. You win arguments you don't deserve to win. Well, that means there's going to be arguments, and you'll win them, but you don't deserve to. And then when Saturn turns around and starts going the other way, so will the outcome of that argument. You'll win it in the beginning, but then you're going to lose it. So how do you get around that? You don't have the argument in the first place. Control your Mars. Saturn's pushing your buttons to test you. Rahu and Ketu there. The past and the future are all tied up in this. I'm going to say it again. This is a test between reconciling your past with your future. Rahu and Ketu. This affects me tremendously because I actually have Rahu and Ketu exactly where they are now. Gemini and Sagittarius. So I get it. I hope you get it too. Because when we're dealing with Saturn, whether he's retrograde or forward, retrograde, he's just going to give you enough rope to hang yourself. And when he turns around, oh, it's on. You'll pay the piper then. So always take into consideration that everything in life is a test. And in Saturn's eyes, there's only passing and failing. There's only passing and failing. There's no, you can't make an average C. There's no such thing. That's only in this construct. This fake, phony construct. You either pass or you fail. I kind of understood that when I was in school. To me, it was more than that. It wasn't about passing and failing. To me, you needed to master a thing. I had to make straight A's. I made a B in the 4th grade in handwriting and I broke down. I don't think I'd ever been so devastated with myself that no, that a B plus was unacceptable. It needed to be an A. I don't want to go have surgery with a doctor that made an average score. But very few excel up to the level of excellence. But when you come into this world, you should pick a thing that you love and master it. Just completely master it. Own it. Start at the beginning. Work hard for it. Pay the price. Don't let it be handed to you. Earn it. If somebody just hands it to you, you're not going to appreciate it the way it should be appreciated. But if you earn it, then it has value to you. And I'm not talking about stuff. I'm talking about love, respect from others. These are things that have to be earned. You don't just give them. When you just give it, then you're throwing your pearls before swine. They must be earned. Alright, I can't stress enough. I'm just heavily burdened every day about this Mars and Gemini. And like I've said before, if it was just Mars going through Gemini like it does all the time, no big deal. But because of Saturn, Pluto retrograde with the Rahu Ketu presence, this Mars is the biggest test that the mutable cross has seen in their lifetime. This one. The question is, what will you do in this duality? It is like the heart here in Aries. The heart can be purified here or destroyed. And that generally depends upon our reaction and emotion, because Venus is in Mars's house of emotion. So she's going to have that Mars influence. And Mars is bipolar. He's kicking back to his own house. She's feeling the Mars influence. And they're all in each other's house. Mercury combust in Venus' house, Venus in Mars' house, Mars in Mercury's house. It's like freaking musical chairs here. And that can become confusing, especially with Mercury combust. A lack of understanding it, comprehending it. No logic, no intelligence, no reason. All that's being suppressed. You'll start to see it a little more clearly when Mercury comes out of combustion. But while he's there, it's hard to even see this coming at you. Remember, he's the messenger. There's no message right now. It's being suppressed. It's being held back. The message is there. We're just not receiving it. When he comes out of combustion, then you'll get the why of it all. Then you'll get the message. Don't wait on the messenger. Get busy now. Do the right thing. You need to step up. A lot of you need to step up. A lot of you need to reconcile things from your past. That is that Rahu Ketu experience there. Emotions from the past dictating your future with Saturn and Rahu. Think about what I'm telling you here. Do you have irreconcilable differences from your past that you need to get that situation handled now? Get it off the table. Take care of as much business as you can take care of while Mars is here in Gemini. Because when Mars moves into Cancer, you're not going to get anything done. Mars is debilitated there. I kind of like Mars there because it's a time of peace on Earth. Right now, it's very volatile, and it could just burst into war at any second all over the planet. But when Mars moves into Cancer, that will not happen. The elites would never. Whoever throws the first stone, even in an argument, will lose. Mars debilitated in Cancer. Time of peace on Earth. It's also a sign of disability. People could get injured and have life disabilities that last them for their life. It can also be just lazy. Mars don't feel like doing anything. He's just lazy. So keep all that in mind as Mars gets through this volcanic activity over here. And I call it volcanic because fire is at the other end of that air. Mars is the air that's just going to fuel the fire here in Sagittarius. And Saturn is air fueling this fire. This is the fire in the mind. Right now we have the moon here with Saturn. Just go ahead and see what time of day. Probably by the time this gets uploaded. Let's pop you on and get you dead on there. We're going to have a moon. And the moon at 83% conjunct Saturn at 2:25 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today. So the moon here, let's bring some water into the mix. It's just going to intensify every bit of this. The Pluto, the Saturn retrograde, the illuminated mind. And here comes cardinal water, the power of cardinal water. Whew. I don't even want to think about today. I'm staying in. I got all my running around done yesterday. I'm going to make this video, and then I'm going to do some more charts. Y'all hang on with me with the charts. Please be patient. Everybody's going to get there. The whole list is turned upside down. I've got two lists that are mixed together, and I don't know what's what. But nonetheless, they'll all get done, and they'll get done in the order that the universe would have them done. Myself, I would have it no other way. I've tried to put them in order. I've tried to keep them in order. I've come up with several different systems and methods, and they've all crashed and burned. Because it appears the universe would have me do these in a particular order. And I see the reason for it, because they're showing up in patterns. I'm doing charts that are literally days apart from each other. Right on, and they didn't come to me that way. This is the order they now fell in after the chaos of it all. But everybody's is going to get done. I'm not prepared to take any more requests. Please hold off on that. I'll let you know when I'm ready. I'm not close. As a matter of fact, I don't believe I will be taking any more requests until I move. If somebody has an emergency, I get this all the time. My life's falling apart. It's an emergency. You know what? Everybody's is. All of our lives are falling apart. All of our lives are in a constant state of emergency, whether we're aware of it or not. There can be times that our life's going great, but we don't see the status of our soul. It's the status of your soul that's always threatened here. It always needs to be kept in check. Guard your heart with everything that you have. Guard your heart. And remember, we're not sheep anymore. We're not sheep anymore. We never were. We were lied to. We're all birds. We're all birds. And we have wings. And you can take that G right there, throw a K. Throw the G away. It's a K. It's a crux. It's part of the crux. It's part of the crux. This is the southern whale. It's the southern cross. It's the crux. It's the southern cross. Al-Nair. All of these stars mean something. At the end of their river, the end of the river is for them is right here. And then they become the phoenix. But we're already there. We're the flock. They're just a single phoenix. We're a flock. The crux. The Southern Cross. Coming from the water of life. Y'all got to learn to download the Stellarium and start going through these star lores. This thing is alive, and it will start talking to you. It will show you things it will not show me. It'll show me things it will not show you. Each of us have a different understanding. We're coming from a different place. And I need you to get that. But you need to walk your path. And you don't need to do it just for you. We're all in this together. It's important for me that you walk your path. The one that's designed for you. Not the one that was given to you by this systems of this world. But the one that was given to you by this great living magic circle that really is telling everything. But we're in such an auspicious time right now between these two ages. And I see clearly who's on my channel. And especially those of you that I'm doing your charts. I see everything about you. I see through you. I forgot about Neptune being here. Thank you for showing me that. See, Neptune don't usually show up because of where it's at. It usually won't poke its little head out there. But Neptune also, are we still in Aquarius? Yes, Neptune's still in Aquarius. This is great. So our imaginations are in a fixed air sign. This is good. This is where our imagination needs to be, in the living water. Because it's fixing to be in that water of Pisces, and there's nothing living about that water. It's very poisonous. It's, to me, this is the water of forgetfulness. All of this whole damn river. This whole damn river. And there's an old tale about being told, Don't drink from the first well. It's the water of forgetfulness. You have to go to the second well. And this is the well of souls, the well bucket. This is the well, and he is the bucket that draws that water from the well. The thalamus, the hypothalamus, draws that water from the pineal gland, that milk and honey, that living water. But he's also the king. He's got the crown chakra. It's all here. The Greek's going to give it to you in medical terms. The Arabic's going to tell you the story one way. The Egyptian the other way. But they're all telling you the same thing. And this thing is alive. It's living. And once you pick up your cross and you start going through this daily, the more you do it, the more you become friends with this circle. The more you know each other. The more it knows you, the more you know it. And it's a relationship that grows. You find your stars that are in your constellations. You learn the names of those stars and the meanings of those stars and the stories of those stars in every way you possibly can. In every culture, every person you meet. Where are you from? I'm from Thailand. Tell me the story of Aquarius in Thailand. Tell me the story of Orion in Thailand. And learn from the people. That's the way I learned to speak foreign languages. I grew up a country girl. I didn't even speak good English. I had a bad southern accent. I was born in Mississippi. I was born on the Mississippi River in the Delta with mud between my toes. And I was considered uneducated just because of my accent. But it's the way everybody around me talked. It's the way I learned. But when I moved to a big city, I was in Houston, Texas at 15. And it was an international city. And I was captivated. There were people from all over the world. I had learned French and Spanish in school, but once I hit the streets of Houston, that Spanish done me no good at all. I couldn't understand a thing these people were saying, and I realized, oh, I had learned proper Spanish for the country of Spain, and that this Tex-Mex was very different. And then I started to realize, hey, there's people from the Orient and people from the Middle East and South America and India, and there are people from all over the world here. And I started, when I would make friends with them, I would trade them. I will teach you better English if you teach me your language. And I began picking up all these languages. I wish I knew back then what I know now. I have realized that my whole life I've been asking the wrong questions. The questions I needed to be asking them was, tell me your star lore. Tell me the tales of the Arabian Nights. Tell me the tales of Egypt. Tell me the tales of Buddha. That's what I should have been asking. So I ask them now, and I get the answers to that as I'm doing your charts. And as I pick up my cross daily and start walking this golden road, this gold and silver road, and I just go around it and it speaks to me. And I understand there are 4 stories. There are 2 main stories, the sun and the moon. And then all the rest are sub-characters and subplots. But then their stories are told frontwards and backwards. So they're told going this way, and clockwise, and then counterclockwise. In the big picture. This thing is quite incredible. I look at it as almost like a hard drive in a computer. And it's spinning. That hard drive is spinning. And the planets, the sun and the moon, are all needles that are spinning on that hard drive, and they're reading it. They're the lasers that's reading it. And it plays this beautiful symphony song all at once. Everything is singing at once. And as it sings, we're born into existence. The song it sings is you and me. We are the product of that song. Everything is sound and frequency. But that all comes from thought. It's the imagination. It's Neptune, the one in the middle. Neptune works in the etheric world and the physical world. It is the imagination. I remember my son was just a baby. He had just started school. And we were sitting watching Nickelodeon one day. And they were doing the contest for 3 new cartoons. And they were going to let the audience pick. And one of those cartoons was SpongeBob. And I said, oh, SpongeBob is going to be, they're going to pick SpongeBob and it's going to be huge. It's going to be one of the biggest cartoons ever. Because it played right into what's going on. I knew it was a setup. It was SpongeBob before they ever picked the other two to compete with SpongeBob. It was always about SpongeBob. Imagination. There's nothing without it. And some people simply have no imagination whatsoever. They're just way too serious. And others have too much imagination. We all need to find balance in our life. They keep taking it, hiding it, distorting it. It's so much in so many things. It's so much in so many things. This is another giant, by the way. This is the other one. They just hide it. Virgo. They hide everything. But it don't mean we can't find it. That's very funny. I've never seen this here before. This KHANWI. If you anagrammed this, I've been telling y'all about Kwamu. It's KWEH MU. I want to see what fish this is. This is interesting to me because this is in Sagittarius. See how I'm going to learn something every day. Let's go to the Arabic first. Okay, it's just in the Southern Crown. Oh, I don't want that. I want to go to Western. Come on. It's just in the foot of Corona Australis. We have this next quadrant coming up where we have air, earth, fire, and water. Is going to be so different than the one we've experienced in the last 4 ages. Especially these two. Every story ever been written about heaven or the golden age or the age to come or all of that. The age that was, it's talking about Aquarius and Capricorn. The age of Saturn, the age of Kronos, when time began. You can ask any Jewish rabbi to explain to you what God is, and they'll kind of say it like this. In the beginning, whatever there was before the beginning, that's God. Beginning denotes time. That's Saturn. To me, birth is death and death is birth. When we come into these bodies are made of dirt. We're coming into the earth. It's made of earth. We're coming into the tomb, not the womb. We leave the womb into the tomb. But when we leave the tomb, our bodies, our souls resurrect out of the body before death. Only the body goes into the ground. And yes, I'm quite aware the body has a consciousness and a mind of its own that is separate from me. It's not me. To me, the body comes from this water. Its consciousness comes from this water. it runs on fear. And the soul comes from this water, and it runs on love. And that's the way the wheel turns. And these are the days of our lives. You remember all the soap operas, all you older ladies? It's all in there, one day at a time. These are the days of our lives. The Young and the Restless, General Hospital, remember all that crap? Yeah, but they show you the little hourglass, the Saturn hourglass, as the sands of time. These are the days of our life. There's Neptune popping his head back up. All right. Get in touch with yourself. Know thyself. To do that, you need to pick up your cross and follow him daily. Download Stellarium. The link is below in the description box. There are a lot of great links in the description box. A lot of you ask me questions that if you'd simply look in the description box, you would find the answer. I always leave the links for Inside 33 Archive, all kind of stuff. You'll find links down there. Planetary Linguistic, Alchemy Libraries. I can't force you to learn. The journey is yours and the choice is yours. The life is yours. You do with it what you will. But know that there's a price to pay for everything. And the piper's coming. Learn to dance. That way, when the piper gets here, you can dance a jig instead of paying the piper.